Just send the completed divorce papers to the city office. It takes about 30 minutes. Amy laughed as she urged me to file the papers. Don't worry, it won't even take 30 minutes. What? A few minutes later. All done submitting it. I'm disappointed. You didn't even seem to hesitate. I thought you really loved me even though you earned a low salary. Is it all about the money after all? After ending the call, I immediately left the office. A month later, some weird documents arrived at the house. What is this all about? You'll understand if you read them. How can you present these false facts to extort money from me, just because you're paid low? What do you mean, false facts? I know I've caused my family hardship by earning less than most people. But that doesn't make it right to suddenly send divorce papers to me. I'll make you regret dismissing me just because I'm low paid. My name is Tyler. I'm just a low-paid office worker. With no particular goals, I ended up working right after high school since I couldn't find a college I wanted to attend. I didn't have any special skills, so my salary has barely increased compared to my peers. Fortunately, I met Amy, who I got along with well, and we got married. Though we only could afford a used home, far from the station, we got a place. We naturally ended up living a car-dependent life, of course, with a used car as well. Yet, Amy always enriched my days with a smile, never complaining. Eventually, our daughter Rico was born, and our household finances began to seriously tighten. It was then that I finally developed career desires of my own, but it was too late. The positions that could have led to promotions were already occupied by others, and I had no hope. Rico grew up healthy and eventually entered a private college. That was the time we needed money the most. The resilient Amy had been working part-time since Rico was in elementary school. Thanks to Amy increasing her hours, we got through it together as a couple. When Rico's job was secured, we were relieved and celebrated modestly as a family. Those around us who saw and heard us praised our family's closeness, and it secretly made me feel good. Later, I was given a transfer away from my family in a place with poor transport. Honestly lonely to be away from my family. But luckily, since Rico was all grown up now, it was a relief. Rico was already an adult and could take care of herself, and with her college tuition paid off, there was no worry about money. While sad to part, I could leave without much worry. At first, after my assignment, I was lonely all the time, from morning till night. It seemed the family felt the same, as Amy often asked for video calls. Rico and I exchanged messages on a social media app, mostly about trivial daily things. Today, the neighbor gave me some fruit they grow at their place, but it's a bit too much. You liked it, didn't you? I'll send some to you. Thanks, I'm happy. I've finally gotten used to my job here and have time to wander on weekends. I found some sweets you'd like. I'll send them too. This was a conversation between Amy and I, as a couple. Rico, now working, mostly talks about her job. Surely, she finds it easier to discuss certain topics with Amy and others with me. Work is going well, my colleagues are kind, but I'm not a fan of my boss. I've met many bosses I didn't like too, but a boss isn't a friend or a classmate. So there's no need to get overly friendly, just build a trusting relationship through your work, and you'll be fine. Every exchange with the two of them lights a warm feeling in my heart. Still, I'm lonely. Because of this, even though I'm low paid, I try to go home every 2 weeks, on the weekends. But as the saying goes, nothing is eternal. That applied to our family's closeness as well. Gradually, the frequency of messages from Amy and Rico decreased. And then the content changed as well. You always wear such fashionable clothes. Don't you have anything trendier? It's just loungewear. Plus, I mostly go out alone, so I don't really own a lot of clothes, I responded. You're so dull, she said, clearly losing interest. Rico was even more blunt. Dad, could you stop sending messages every weekend? It's kind of embarrassing when my friends see that my dad is texting me. I see, Rico, you're an adult now, so you have your own social life. Sorry for not being more thoughtful. Our conversations became curt like this. Moreover, both started going out more on weekends with their women's groups or friends, and often, no one was home when I returned. It just made me think it wasn't worth the travel expense, and gradually, I reduced my visits home. 2 years into my solo assignment, I only went home during major holidays. Now, our video calls and messaging are virtually non-existent. The only communication we have is for necessary, practical matters. For instance, Amy would message, "The property tax bill has come, send money," often talking about money. Even the way she phrases it feels very impersonal. As for Rico, she doesn't contact me at all anymore. It's a shock, but they say no news is good news. I shouldn't be too sensitive about it. It's normal for there to be some distance between father and daughter. The mother-daughter relationship seems good, so I guess I shouldn't worry. That's what I kept telling myself. When I go home for the holidays, like in summer or during New Year's, we don't chat like we used to. Still, I ask how they're doing, and they briefly update me, making me feel happy. That's why I believed I could grow old with this family, even if things were a bit awkward. But then, suddenly, an incident occurred. I had to rush home due to a family emergency, with the funeral in the neighboring county. I decided to stay at home instead of a hotel. I'm on the bullet train now. I'll go straight to the wake and then head home. I'll grab dinner out, so don't worry about me, I messaged Amy. Got it, she replied. Amy is still working part-time to save for retirement, so she's busy during the week. Rico works on weekends, so I figured I'd just sleep there. I could grab breakfast near the funeral home. Thinking through these plans, I soon arrived home. I'm home. Welcome back, dear. Welcome back, Dad. I was surprised to see both of them waiting to greet me. What? You both came out to greet me? Sorry for suddenly coming back. I know you're busy. It's okay, besides, we've rearranged a bit. Your room is now the one closest to the entrance. Got it. I went to the room they mentioned to organize my stuff, but something felt off. Amy and Rico kept watching me as if they were guarding me. Amy seemed to have spruced up a bit. More womanly than motherly, you could say. When I went to the living room for a drink, I noticed unfamiliar decorative items and stylish furniture here and there. I have to say, with my low salary, I couldn't afford such things. Even if Rico bought them as gifts, they'd be expensive for a woman in her 20s, and there were more than one or two. Which was concerning. I had a bad feeling about it. Then, for 6 months, I didn't contact my family or visit home more than 2 or 3 times a year. It felt more like living a bachelor's life than being on a solo assignment. Now I'm quite familiar with the job and the city. With more mental and time freedom, I impulsively restarted an old hobby, gaming. On days off, I mostly sat in front of the TV. Since Rico was born, life had naturally been child-centered, and personal hobbies were put on hold. Playing again, it was enjoyable. Thus, I compensated for the emotional and physical distance that had grown between my family and me by reviving my hobby. In the midst of this, a major incident happened. A pre-filled divorce form arrived at my assignment location by express delivery. The witness section was filled with Rico's name and someone I don't know. Maybe she hired someone to act on her behalf. I called Amy to confirm. I just received a divorce form out of the blue. What's this all about? Do you really need to ask? It's obvious, isn't it? Sure, a form makes divorce possible, but isn't this something we should decide together after a discussion? The form is meant to document the outcome, not replace the discussion. Do we need to discuss? We haven't properly communicated in over a year, you know. Naturally, there's been no marital relationship either. Don't you think it's clear our marriage has broken down? Rico is independent now, and I can't see any reason to remain married to you any longer. Amy was completely unreachable. And then, what does Rico say? She says it doesn't matter if you're there or not, just do what you want. It seems Rico won't take my side either. I had a feeling that might be the case. I tried to persuade Amy for a discussion once more, but she wouldn't listen. You're indecisive and annoying. That's why I can't stand you. You're uncool and rapidly aging. I feel no attraction to you. That's why I sent the divorce papers. Just submit them to the office. It should take about 30 minutes. You don't even need a copy of the family register anymore, right? Once you sign and seal it, just submit it with your ID. Thanks in advance. Looks like you're determined, okay, but don't worry, it won't take 30 minutes. What? I'm in front of the office right now. I'll let you know once it's successfully processed. And a few minutes later, I've already submitted it. As I joked, Amy sounded disappointed. That was quick. I called while heading to the office. With this, we're officially strangers now. Congratulations, your wish came true so quickly. So, to you, that's all we ever were. I'm disappointed. You didn't even seem to hesitate. I thought you truly loved me despite your low pay. Is it all about the money then? It's a common story, but it really hurts when your wife mentions money. Isn't it better to have money than to not? Do you have any idea how much I've struggled? I put myself last. Running around like a workhorse doing housework, child care, and my job, I'm at my limit. I'm not just a mother anymore. I want to go back to being me, and I don't need you in that picture. I understand. From now on, I hope you find happiness. Let that at least be my compensation for the hardships I've caused. You can keep the house and I'll continue to pay off the mortgage. Really? I assumed you'd sell the house and split the money. Let me do this much. I did truly love you, after all. With that, Amy sincerely thanked me. I did indeed love that about her. But that's in the past now. After ending the call, I immediately left the office. I know I made my family struggle with a salary lower than most, but I thought we were getting through it together as a couple. Apparently, it was all just my own wishful thinking. Unfortunately, neither Amy nor Rico will be happy. There's a lot they still don't know. Taking on the mortgage payment for a house I no longer live in was a deliberate choice. My revenge starts here. I'll make them regret dismissing me just because I'm low paid. A month after submitting the divorce papers, I had taken the afternoon off to prepare for a mobile game event. As I eagerly held my phone, a call came in. It was from Amy. Thinking I knew what this might be about, I smiled smugly and answered the call. Hello, Tyler. Some strange documents arrived at the house. What is this? What do you mean? It's a proof of infidelity. Just read it, as it says. I expected decent alimony. That's not okay. How can you try to squeeze money out of me with false facts just because your work pays so little? I should be the one to sue. What lies? You were practically living with that guy while I was on assignment. Amy was momentarily at a loss for words. Yes, the unease I felt when I last returned home was due to another man's presence. I noticed the decor and furniture, but what caught my eye first was an unfamiliar mug in the cupboard. A simple design in a slightly dark color. It wasn't Amy or Rico's taste. I had a hunch that a man had been coming and going. Later, when I secretly returned home, I found a third toothbrush in the bathroom and a jacket that wasn't mine in what was supposed to be my room, evidence of a man's presence everywhere. Since then, I've hired a detective and thoroughly investigated. I uncovered the true identity of my wife's affair partner. I consulted a lawyer and finally decided to send my demands through certified mail. What are you talking about? Suddenly saying such things? You must be out of your mind. Did the divorce mess with your mental health? Are you still pretending not to know? I've sent a certified letter explaining everything. Obviously, I have proof. All that doesn't matter. A single piece of certified mail won't do anything. Anyway, I don't know anything about it. I won't pay for lies. Amy hung up unilaterally. She intends to push through with this momentum. Indeed, as Amy says, a letter through certified mail does not have legal force. Still, it's an important step in clearly communicating that I know about the infidelity and am demanding alimony. My revenge has just begun. Even if they escape now, it's certain that Amy and Rico will face painful consequences soon. Once the game event was over, I turned back to my computer and rushed through some important paperwork. A month later, Rico called. Suspecting what it might be about, I hummed a tune and pressed the call button. Hello, it's unusual for you to call. How many years has it been? You never called during my solo assignment because it was too embarrassing to talk to your dad. Stop it. Where have you put our stuff? Our stuff. Everything, from the refrigerator to the rice cooker. All the appliances are gone. And even our valuable china cabinet, and not a single curtain remains. Hearing her shrill voice over the phone, I burst out laughing. Ha ha ha. Looks like you got hit big time. Why are you laughing like it's none of your business? It is none of my business, isn't it? You and I are no longer family, and I don't live in that house anymore. Just because we're not family anymore doesn't mean you can just dispose of everything in the house. That's illegal entry. Illegal entry. She dares to scream illegal entry while living in a house in my name and not paying the mortgage. I resist the urge to reveal everything at once and decide to give out just a little information for now. That's why it wasn't me who broke in. Then who was it? It must have been your mother's lover, right? Or maybe he had help. It'd be tough to move the fridge and the china cabinet alone. What? What are you talking about, lover? He's my mom's fiancé. We're supposed to live together in this house. What would he gain by taking the furniture? Rico is already well into her 20s, yet there's an air of naivety about her. No wonder they were targeted by Amy's lover. You're naive, you've been conned. He's a scam artist. Don't talk nonsense. Suddenly Amy interrupted the conversation. Apparently, she had been listening on speaker from the start. He's a wealthy doctor. He has given me and Rico a life of dreams. We just came back from a trip abroad funded by his money. Don't be jealous just because you don't have money. Oh, so you're finally admitting to the affair. That's true. I met him during our marriage, but it wasn't an unsavory relationship. He felt pity for my life and just helped us out financially. To claim there was no unsavory relationship even though they were practically living together is astonishing. If that's true, I'd have to admire his saint-like integrity. A dream-like life. You've gotten used to luxury in my absence and finally decided to abandon your longtime husband. Or maybe the chemistry was just too good, huh? I'm telling you it wasn't an affair. Stop saying such vulgar things. Well, then watch the video I'm about to send to your phone. I was at my limit, so I decided to use the best evidence I had. It clearly showed Amy and her lover being intimate in our bedroom during broad daylight. No, what is this? What do you mean what? It's proof of the affair. That's not what I mean. How do you even have this video? I recorded it with a camera. I sneaked back home while you two were out and set it up. Hearing the word camera, Rico lashed out. That's awful. Did you film me naked too? Of course not. The cameras were only in our bedroom to catch the affair, and I removed them once I got the footage I needed. Realizing she was not compromised, Rico muttered, "Geez," and backed off. However, Amy, deeply hurt, trembled as she asked me, "So, you submitting the divorce papers so confidently was because I already knew about your infidelity and was planning to bring it up eventually. I thought we would at least have a discussion first." That's so. And where is this crucial affair partner now? No immediate response came back. Perhaps the reality was starting to scare Amy. He said he had a business trip right after he came back to the airport and left immediately. He bailed, huh? I responded instantly and thought I heard a small scream. He probably won't ever come back. That can't be. No need to rush. Just take your time to face the reality. Also, the house will be put on the market at the end of this month. Make sure you have your things moved out by then. Dropping this new bombshell, Rico screamed again. What do you mean? I handled the sale myself. Why? Why should I keep a house I don't live in? There's a mortgage, and selling it was obvious. Amy persisted despite the obvious explanation. You said you'd give it to us. I changed my mind. I said you could stay there, not forever, and I certainly never said I'd give it to you. That's just splitting hairs. I don't want to hear that from someone who cheated by bringing another man into the house while her husband was away. No matter what you say, the house is in my name, and the sale is already complete. If you try to stay, it'll only lead to forced eviction. As I laid out the reality, Amy's feeble mutterings could be heard. That's just. The only reason I didn't let go of the house during the divorce was because I knew Amy's lover would end up taking whatever money came from the sale. It was a hard-earned home. I couldn't stand to let that happen. It's good I managed to sell it myself and didn't let a penny go to anyone else. Goodbye. Apparently out of energy to argue. The line finally went silent, and I ended the call. 2 weeks later, I finally revealed the truth to both of them, and I truly felt relieved. Today's weather was crystal clear, mirroring my own feelings, as if something good was bound to happen. Then, early in the morning, the doorbell rang insistently until I answered. Slightly irritated, I opened the door. Who is it at this hour? Amy and Rico. Tyler, finally, we found you. I can finally rest. I'm sick of staying at internet cafes. Hey, don't just barge in. You two are strangers now. I instinctively stopped them as they tried to enter as if it were the most natural thing to do. Immediately, they both scowled and glared at me like wild animals. Their cheeks more hollow and their gazes sharper than before. We've been married for years. We hitchhiked all the way from the countryside. Hitchhiking nowadays, why on earth? It's all because of you. Dad, do you have any idea how much we've suffered? Rico started crying uncontrollably before she could finish her sentence. Caught up in the moment, Amy also began to cry heavily. This was sure to cause a disturbance. More than that, I didn't want anyone to witness this scene. This is a company-leased apartment for singles, and I definitely don't want any trouble. Reluctantly, I decided we should go to a nearby family restaurant to talk. Once there, I finally heard their full story. What? Your bank books and seals were stolen? Yes, all our savings were withdrawn. My paycheck savings were used up too because Mom and I kept them together. Even the wallet I had packed for our trip is gone. Now that I think about it, he was always the one carrying our luggage. He must have planned to steal from us from the beginning. We couldn't even call anyone because our phones were stolen too. As they continued, Amy and Rico began to cry again. Though quieter than before, their sobbing still drew attention from other customers. It was incredibly awkward, and I wanted to leave as soon as possible. He really milked you for all you had, huh? Well, he's a con artist. It was obviously his plan from the start. So, we'll be living in your house from today. It's in the middle of nowhere, but we can't be choosy under the circumstances. Hey, don't decide that on your own. You know this is a singles apartment provided by my company, right? I receive a housing allowance, and letting other people stay could get me in trouble. Suddenly, I hesitated as the tide of problems swept over me. They really are shameless when they need help. Then call your company and ask them to move us somewhere we can live together. We'll stay at a hotel until it's arranged, so give us some money. Why should I? We're not family. Besides, shouldn't you remember that I'm the one supposed to be receiving money? What? You can't be serious. You're going to squeeze alimony out of Mom in this situation. That's absurd. I don't have thousands of dollars. I'm broke. Amy's eyes widened in disbelief. However, I remained utterly calm. It's not my concern that you were deceived. It's your own fault. You were blinded by the allure of money and gave up a simple happiness on your own. Spilled water doesn't go back into the container. You're right. Even though you had a low salary, life with you was filled with security. Right. We hardly ever went on trips because of the low salary, but I remember how often you used to take me to the park. When I was a kid, those were good times. Enough with the low salary already. As I muttered in annoyance, Amy suddenly clapped her hands together and took control of the situation. So let's start over from here. I'll go back to work, and since Rico is an adult now, the three of us can make enough money for our future and even save for retirement. That's right. I'm at the prime working age. I never really contributed much financially before, but this time I'll make sure to pay every month. As I said, I'm rejecting that proposal. As the conversation was about to carry on without me, I quickly intervened. Why not? It would be a great help, given your low salary. That's where you're wrong. What? You think at your age you suddenly made a career jump? The two, who had always believed I was earning a low salary, were shocked. No way, our plain and unremarkable dad. What do you think I am? Well, to be precise, my salary hasn't increased, but my current monthly income is nearly $10,000. What? How is that possible? Hearing the somewhat unbelievable amount, both Amy and Rico were clearly confused. I understand their feelings. I might be the most shocked by my current situation. It's from a video sharing site, Amy. You know I've always liked gaming, right? When I started living alone and hardly went home or contacted you guys, I had time to spare and started gaming again. I figured I might as well post gameplays online. Then, my subscriber count just kept growing, and now I make more than from my main job. So, I don't even need to work anymore. The fact that I was making money on the side allowed me to hire a detective without hesitation to investigate Amy's affair partner. Later, I hired a lawyer to proceed smoothly with the divorce. Such expenses were nothing to me. It's a completely different turn from before. So, I can become a full-time homemaker. Can I just stay at home, doing nothing? I'm not interested in supporting others. Don't assume you can lean on me. That's the deal, so you'll have to manage on your own. I'll pay for now, but that's it. I quickly paid the bill and left the restaurant as if escaping, with them following me. Desperately, I zigzagged through narrow streets trying to lose them. Somehow I managed to get home first and lock the door. But outside, they banged and made a scene until a neighbor peeked out. You loser, "I'll curse you." They shouted obscenities, and the neighbor immediately called the police. Both were taken away by the police. Amy and Rico, having lost their phones, couldn't contact their workplaces while hitchhiking to meet, and were fired for unexcused absences. Having lost both their money and jobs, the two hurriedly took on part-time jobs to make ends meet. However, as things settled down a bit, they discovered a shocking truth. The wallets stolen by Amy's lover had contained their credit cards. Moreover, they were maxed out and even had cash advances taken out against them. Without their phones and all their valuables gone, they hadn't even contacted the credit card companies. They weren't just at zero financially, they were deep in debt. Furthermore, Amy was still in arrears with the alimony to me, so she and Rico ended up living in a run-down apartment, juggling multiple jobs and struggling to pay off their debts. Meanwhile, her lover was arrested as a habitual fraudster. The detective I hired to uncover his real name and hideout had played a big role. He was sentenced to 5 years in prison for fraud, and would likely have to spend a lifetime paying compensation to the many victims he had deceived. As for me, I decided to quit my company and live off my income from a video posting site. Although it's risky, earning money by doing something I love, like playing games, feels like a true calling. I even bought a new house near my parents' home, taking care of them while leading a stress-free life, free from any boss's reprimands. Truly an ideal existence. Nowadays, there are so many different ways to work. It's hard for an old-timer like me to keep up, I said. I never thought I'd be earning money by posting videos either, but thanks to that, I can now spend weekdays traveling leisurely with you, Mom. My mom and I laughed over it. I don't believe this earning method will last a lifetime. Hence, I avoid splurging despite having money, instead investing it to grow it further. Yet, during these moments of family togetherness, I prefer not to think of the complications. Instead, I simply want to enjoy showing my gratitude to my parents,